For task number 1 today, you should have a copy of this foldable. You're going to make sure that right now you put your first and last name in this box. And if you follow the directions according to the way I'm explaining them, you only have to do the front page. You do not have to do the inside. We will do this together when I return. So looking at the front page, you're going to be going through one of your Membean words and finding where it breaks it down by word ingredient. We talked about this last week. And you need to find, you might need to go to 2 or 3 different words in order to complete this task, because you are looking for one word that has a root, one base, one prefix, one suffix. So if you look at my word here, animated, you can see that I've got a root and a suffix. That means I need to go keep searching until I find one that has a base and a prefix that I can use. Now I know that this is a root because anim by itself is not a word. Anim is a root that gets added to other words to build, or to other prefixes and suffixes and so on, to build new words. I know that ed is a suffix because the hyphen here tells me that I can add word parts to the end of I can add this to the end of words. Where the hyphen is where I would add other word parts. And if you click the word part tree, it's going to take you to a word tree. And so from here, you're going to find words, and I would suggest that you try to find words that are new to you, but are still words that you think you might use in some context. So you might be able to click on them and look at the definitions and see. You'll see that if they're with a red leaf, that they are somewhere in our Membean word list, and if they are not, or if they're in yellow, then they're just other words. So on your page, let's say I did anim. I'm going to write that here. I know it's a root. And you're going to need to fill these definitions in here. A prefix is added at the beginning. A root is not a word by itself, but a base is. And then a suffix is added to the end. So anim is the root that I chose to work on. Its definition is mind or spirit. And I went through and I found 5 words that have anim in it. Animate, animal, reanimate, magnanimous, and animosity. And I would say spelling counts here because you are literally just copying them down from the place on Membean. Okay, and then you're going to go and do the suffix. So I could go back to this word part that I had and click on the word tree for ed and go fill in my ed suffix column. Now, you are not allowed to use anim as your root because that is my example. Now, I do want to show you when you are in your training session or in your Membean dashboard, if you go down to where it says all words learned, you could pick another, you can pick from any of these. So I would suggest maybe that you pick from good progress words. And I'm going to pick predecessor for mine.
Predecessor.
And now I see I have a prefix here, so I could then use predecessor. If I click on that word tree, again, it gives me the word part, the definition, and a bunch of words. Now, the only one, so now I have found a prefix, a suffix, and a root. I still need to go back and find a base. And so I could just keep, clicking through until I find one that has a base word. And again, what makes it a base word is that it has its own word all by itself. Okay, and so you could probably use a little deductive reasoning as you look at some of these words to try and figure it out. Now, if you get stuck, I do not want you spending more than 15 minutes on this activity. So if you're really stuck and you can't come up with a base, just go find your own base word, or maybe cross it out and you could do another route. But don't spend more than 15 minutes on this. Okay, and when you're done, you're going to be going on to task number 2. Task number 2 is going to have you read an article in here because we've been talking about word parts or word games. We've been playing Wordle as a brain break sometimes in class. I actually found an article about Wordle. So today's Achieve article is about word games. Okay, and you're going to, again, take your time, answer the question, read through it, annotate it. This would really be a good one for the compare and contrast. It's going to talk about 4 different types of word games. Take your time, do your best job. You want to get a 75% or better so that you can start building up that Lexile for the end of month. Next week, you'll do your Achieve Summative article before you move into your new Lexile. If you have any questions, be sure to email me.